Welcome back to a brand new video here at ProFit Golf. I'm Natalie, and today we're going to be talking about upper body mobility, aka as a golfer, rotation. So one of the most crucial things that we need to achieve as golfers is the ability to rotate the upper body well, giving you that feeling of a full shoulder turn and completing the backswing. I know this is something that a lot of players, including myself at times, struggle with. Because one of the biggest complaints that I hear from golfers is stiffness through the rib cage, through the spinal area, resulting in those short backswings where you feel like it's very armsy, you might be lifting through the body rather than turning on a nice, full, smooth turn. So I'm going to show you 2 exercises that can help you improve your backswing. We're going to be talking about loosening up through the rib cage, creating some rotation, and crucially, creating some side bend, which is the absolute killer move for all players for your backswing. So let's get stuck straight into exercise number 1. You'll notice I mentioned in the introduction about side bend being the killer move for your backswing. And the reason why side bend is so important is because it helps you maintain that center point. It helps you maintain spinal angle. So you can rotate right, you can rotate left without changing posture. So if you're not sure what side bend is, it's basically a bend of the spine, as it says. So as I turn to my backswing here, this is a side bend essentially where the left-hand side of my ribs has sort of tilted down this way for me to exaggerate and show you. The right-hand side of my ribs is expanded and stretched. If I don't have the ability to create that movement very well or maintain it while I rotate, what tends to happen is the body will try and find a way to create rotation and avoid the side bend element. So what we see in a lot of players is a lift of the spine or a flatter shoulder plane. So we end up swinging this way around where the left-hand side of the ribs, they expand and lift to try and help you gain some height through the backswing. So you'll notice here I've got a couple of gadgets. We can get rid of the golf club. And this first exercise is all about helping you move the ribs down and upwards to expand and compress in the same way that we do in the golf swing to help you achieve that range of motion to create some side bend. Okay, so this is how to do this exercise. You'll notice I've got a couple of gadgets. This is just a soft foam pad for my knee, just to give a bit of protection because this floor is very hard. So if you're doing this at home, you can just use a cushion from the sofa or a pillow or a rolled up towel, anything to just give you a little bit of protection. Got myself a little yoga block here. So again, if you're in the gym, you can use the yoga block, but this can be anything. It can be a couple of books, rolled up towel, again, a couple of cushions, or even a foam roller. It's just something to give you a slight raise from the ground while we begin this exercise. So 90-90 position here. I'm going to place my yoga block just in front of me, in front of this knee, vertically. This is only to put my hand on. It has no other purpose for the time being, okay? And then from there, what we're going to do, I'm going to start with my upper body upright. So the bottom of my ribs here, where you can see me pull them in, sit directly on top of my pelvis. You'll be able to see this better from the side view, but what that means is that the ribs are stacked on top of the pelvis and we don't have any strange postures going on to begin with. This is a common theme that you will see throughout this channel, so bear these points in mind. Then I'm going to come to a prayer position, so hands together just in front of my chest. All the movement is, one arm will split up, the other arm will split down. The arm that splits down is creating the side bend. It's going to tilt my torso to the side here, very similar to that motion that we see happening throughout the backswing. So the exercise as one looks like this. Hands together. I'm going to split that left hand up and the right hand down onto the block. I'm going to turn my head to look up to my left hand here towards the ceiling. I can feel the stretch here through the left hand side of my ribs where I've expanded the rib cage on this side, and then I'm a little bit compressed here on the right hand side where I'm creating this side bend position. You can see that my spine is no longer level to the floor, it's bent to the side. My hand is on the block and I'm going to extend all the way up. From here, back to the start position. I'm just going to run through 2 or 3 reps so you can see the movement in full. Like that. So I mentioned the block was here only to put my hand on. If you're finding this quite easy, we can get rid of the block, and now we have further to go to create that side bend. So I'll come back to the start position again, split and extend, and now I've got all the way to try and get down to touch my hand flat on the floor here. This creates much more bend through the rib cage and the torso than that initial position. There's a couple of crucial things with this exercise to try and get right. Firstly, it's to try and maintain this 90-90 position. We're trying to create the side bend through the torso, through the upper body rib cage area, not by compensating and using other parts of the body. So one of the most common mistakes we see with this exercise is people swaying and popping their hips out or curving through the spine to achieve the motion. So what we don't want to see is this, pushing that hip all the way out to really cheat and grab the floor much easier. Exercise number 2, this is all about creating some rotation and some width through the upper body. So think of this as getting that wider, fuller, longer backswing. We created side bend in exercise number 1. That's the first position to try and achieve. So this is exercise number 2. Again, you'll notice I've got a little gadget. This time the foam roller. So with the roller, I'm going to place it flat to the wall here, and then I'm just going to pop the inside of my thigh tight against the roller, so this sits nice and level. It's not on my kneecap, it's not on the bone, it's on the spongy bit of tissue on the inside of my thigh. I'm then going to make sure that this leg is forwards, so my toes and my feet are facing forwards, they're not sticking in and they're not sticking out. Tiptoes on my back foot, and then I'm going to stand up fairly tall through the upper body, meet the hands in the middle again. What I'm going to do this time is make sure that this roller does not drop. The key to the exercise is to keep this tight by pushing some pressure from the inner thigh against the wall. And what that does is engage the muscles of the inner thigh and the groin area to help stabilize your pelvis. So if I meet those hands in the middle, the movement looks like this. I'm going to open wide with this outside arm, taking my upper body and opening my chest as far as I can go. Looking over this shoulder, nice and wide. Returning back to the middle, making sure that you take your body and your arm together as one. So wide, turn, as far as you can manage, keeping the roller in position. Most common mistakes with this exercise are this. Only the arm moving individually. I can only get so far moving only my arm on its own. And secondly, not keeping control of the roller. So people start to use their hips to turn and cheat, popping this outside hip out, which is not what we're trying to achieve on this exercise. This exercise is helping you create some upper body rotation through the rib cage, through the spine, through the chest and the shoulders by maintaining the stability of the lower body. Think about it in golf terms. You don't want flimsy legs swaying left and right. We want to be on a strong, stable base to turn over. Do both of these exercises together. We have the side bend first, then the rotation second. Practice these a few times a week and see how that backswing feels. If you enjoyed this exercise, hit the bell and give me a subscribe, like the video, and comment below if you have any questions or any exercises that you would like to see covered in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.